Good day, it's July 31st, 2023. A U.S. District Judge in Delaware held off on a plea deal between federal prosecutors and the lawyers of Hunter Biden, the president's son, in a case involving tax laws violation and a gun possession violation. I'm Esmeralda Padilla Gold and welcome to The Pulse.
And I'm Sam Buban.
According to an article in Politico, Hunter Biden's plea deal hit a roadblock during an unexpected contentious court hearing Wednesday last week, as prosecutors and Biden's attorney initially disagreed about the scope of the disagreement, and the judge postponed approving the deal. Tensions grew after a prosecutor said the federal investigation into the president's son is still ongoing. After presiding both sides for details about the plea deal, U.S. District Judge Mary Ellen Noreika adjourned the hearing so that the two sides could refine and clarify the agreement, under which Hunter Biden had planned to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanor tax offenses and a felony gun charge. At the end of the tumultuous 3-hour hearing, Biden instead wound up pleading not guilty, and the judge postponed further proceedings, possibly for a month or more. The proposed deal that was outlined, which was announced last month between Biden and the Justice Department, is not yet over. Both sides will now have to satisfy Judge Noreika's concerns about the technical aspect of the deal and her own role in enforcing a so-called pretrial diversion agreement under which Hunter Biden will avoid serving time in prison on the gun charge if he remains drug-free for 2 years and doesn't break any other laws. If Judge Noreika ultimately approves the deal, Hunter Biden will be able to withdraw the guilty pleas on the tax charges and the gun charge.
The Guardian newspaper last week detailed the possible criminal charges that the former President Donald Trump will be facing, as mentioned in the so-called target letter that prosecutors in Special Counsel Jack Smith's office sent Donald Trump. The Guardian pieced together the charges that will be filed against Donald Trump based on some of the paper's sources they have spoken to, according to a report published by The Guardian, which multiple mainstream media had picked up and made commentaries from. The Guardian said that Donald Trump, based on the target letter, will be charged with 3 crimes under Title 18 of the U.S. Code, Section 241, that makes it unlawful to conspire to violate civil rights. 2 people who are familiar with the case said. The other 2 charges has something to do with obstruction with an official proceedings and conspiracy to defraud the United States. These 2 cases were the same criminal referrals made by the bipartisan January 6 committee that investigated the conspiracy leading to the Capitol attack. According to many legal commentators, both in the mainstream media and political blogs, the civil rights violation has something to do with violating the civil rights of Joseph Biden from being named the winner of the election. Or, to some, it means the civil rights of those who voted for Joseph Biden. The conspiracy to obstruct official proceedings would likely mean the certification of the real winner of the 2020 election, which is Joseph Biden, and the charge of conspiracy to defraud the United States has something to do with the attempt to falsely certify Trump as the winner through fake electors. So many who are in the Trump's inner circle had testified before the criminal grand jury in Washington, D.C. regarding Trump's direct involvement in the commission of the alleged crime.
A strange thing happened to Senator Minority Leader Mitch McConnell a few days ago when he froze, unable to speak, and could not finish a statement. In the middle of a sentence during a press conference in front of TV cameras and Senate news correspondents, after a minute and seconds, his Republican colleagues in the U.S. Senate escorted Senator McConnell away from the podium. Here's a video of that incident from CNN.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDA this week. It's been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Wait a minute. Are you good?
Okay, Mitch? Anything else you want to say, or should we just go back to your office? Do you want to say anything else to the press? Go back.
Go ahead, John.
I'll take it back. Let's go back to you.
Go ahead, John.
Could you address what happened here at the start of the press conference, and was it related to your injury from earlier this year where you suffered a concussion? Is that
no, I'm fine.
you're fine? You're fully able to do your job?
Yeah.
McConnell emerged in front of the camera later in the day. When asked by reporters, he simply said, "I'm fine." We are going to take a commercial break. Please stick around.
There needs to be a space involved associated with having the sound waves expand fully.
The difference between traditional headphones and Aircom audio is that the air tube gives you 8 times more space, allowing the sound waves to fully develop before they actually hit your eardrums. And this gives it a much more live, natural sound, just like in a recording studio.
Real nice that someone actually addressed the physics associated with how sound comes out.
The challenge we had was to create an earbud with enough airspace for the sound to fully develop and breathe. Unfortunately, traditional earbuds are about the size of a jelly bean, and there's just not enough airspace. However, that changed when we developed Airflow Audio. Airflow uses an air tube to deliver 6 to 8 times more airspace than traditional earbuds. The end result is a true live listening experience, just like you're at a festival or a concert. We also added magnets to the back of the earpieces so you can wear it around your neck when you're not using it.
Being that the drivers are 8 inches from the earpiece, the magnets do not affect the integrity of the sound at all.
The orange line represents the frequency transmitting through the wire to the speaker, which then converts to the blue sound wave that develops more as it travels up the air tube, producing a balanced, full body and live listening experience.
Another really cool feature is that these earbuds are sweat-proof and water-resistant because they're coated with a super hydrophobic nanotechnology. So now you can be on a skateboard or riding a motorcycle and listen to music as if you were watching a live show or actually in a recording studio.
We're coming to you for help in bringing these unparalleled earbuds to market.
With the many recent changes and focus on immigration law, now more than ever is the time to seek the help you need from an attorney you can trust. As an immigrant myself, I know the many difficulties and hardships involved in immigrating to this great country. With more than 10 years of experience in handling immigration cases, our firm can provide the necessary answers and solutions to your needs. Call Calderon Law today so we can work together to help you get the peace of mind you and your loved ones deserve.
Welcome back to the polls. It gets crazier every day with Georgia's Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, for which every time she opens her mouth, as multiple media outlets describes as purely and blatantly lies, even in front of her colleagues in Congress. This week, she created a furor among Democrats and was criticized even from fellow Republicans from different parts of the country, but not from her fellow Republicans in the House of Representatives for displaying a nude photo of Hunter Biden during her turn to question and speak at a committee hearing in the House of Representatives. Hunter Biden's lawyers sent a scathing demand upon the House Ethics Committee to investigate Marjorie Taylor Greene in a lengthy criticism of her actions, which Biden's lawyers describes as no longer in support of legislation, that she abused her position to demean and humiliate Hunter Biden. According to lawyer Ben Marsalis of the Midas Touch Network blogcast, that reading through the entire letter of Hunter Biden's lawyer, that they are going to sue the Congresswoman with defamation. Some Democratic members are also furious as to asking law enforcement to look into the social media distribution by Congresswoman Greene of Hunter Biden's photo if laws were violated concerning distributing pornographic materials by the sitting member of Congress. That is not all that Marjorie Taylor Greene did last week. Before the furor at the committee session, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who thought she was making a litany of criticism of President Joe Biden during a speaking engagement she made, the video of the litany ended up being used by President Joe Biden's campaign in an ad that appears Marjorie Taylor Greene praising Joe Biden's accomplishment and governance programs. So here's the ending of Marjorie Taylor Greene's speech criticizing the president.
Lyndon B. Johnson is very similar to Joe Biden. How are they the same? They're both Democrat socialists. Lyndon B. Johnson was the majority leader in the Senate. Does that sound familiar? He was vice president to Kennedy. Joe was vice president to Obama. He was appointed as the president after JFK was assassinated, then he was elected. His big socialist programs were the Great Society. The Great Society were big government programs to address education, medical care, urban problems, rural poverty, transportation, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and welfare, the Office of Economic Opportunity, and big labor and labor unions. Now, LBJ had the Great Society, but Joe Biden had Build Back Better, and he still is working on it. The largest public investment in social infrastructure and environmental programs that is actually finishing what FDR started, that LBJ expanded on, and Joe Biden is attempting to complete. Socialism. Meanwhile, we are now $32 trillion in debt. With record high homelessness, 40-year record inflation, we're losing the US dollar as the #1 world currency. We're losing our freedoms. Our government is one big, fat, bloated machine, and it's killing the American dream.
And now that is what the Biden campaign did to that video and used in the president's campaign ad. Here's the video to that.
Joe Biden had the largest public investment in social infrastructure and environmental programs that is actually finishing what FDR started, that LBJ expanded on, and Joe Biden is attempting to complete. Programs to address education, medical care, urban problems, rural poverty, transportation, Medicare, Medicaid, labor unions. And he still is working on it.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene thought she was attacking the president, but she ended up telling all the good things the Democratic presidents all the way to Joe Biden had done for the American people.
That's exactly what happened. And of course, when she realized that the video became viral, her speech versus what became of it she simply had been quiet about it. She just went into silence about it like she never spoke.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis again had created a national furor among Americans. Not just the African Americans, but by many, including historians and politicians, over the new curriculum guidelines in Florida on how slavery should be taught in school. DeSantis, who has been making war with liberal-minded Americans, which he described as woke, that of course none of his followers in the Republican Party can define, has been making war at every turn. He waged culture and political war against Disney, Budweiser beer, and other companies he described as woke for providing diversity and respect for the LGBTQ. DeSantis is also known for making war with teachers and college educators for dictating what they should be teaching. It was reported by a mainstream media outlet that there has been an exodus out of Florida by classroom teachers, and college professors and instructors are not coming back to teach in Florida for the August school opening. So many anti-teachers provisions in the Parents' Rights Act that the Republican-controlled legislatures passed are being implemented by DeSantis' allies in the State Board of Education. Florida has become a pariah to many in the U.S. Different organizations and private companies who had scheduled conventions and conferences in Florida had canceled their reservations in Florida venues and moved them elsewhere, citing hostile atmosphere in the state. Now, why would someone running for president of the United States do things like this to alienate more than half of the country, like he is only campaigning for the Floridians to vote for him? Uncle Sam?
These are definitely strange times. First, as many are saying, even former Republican elected officials, the GOP, the grand old party, as they call the Republican Party, that the Republican Party is dead. It's been replaced by the Trump Party or the MAGA Party. Here's why the 2024 Republican nomination situation is unheard of, just so real. Trump is leading the polls as of this period. That might change or not if he is convicted of the criminal charges, both the federal or the state charges in Georgia. But there are only one candidate speaking against Trump, and that's former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. And even Ron DeSantis has not really gone on the offensive on Trump. But the other candidates for the Republican nominations are acting like they have no plan of winning, that even in with the mounting criminal exposure of Trump, these candidates rally behind Trump, except about 3 of those 11 other candidates. Instead of using Trump's situation to get some bump up on the polls, it's almost unreal how the chorus will sing to defend Trump. Like these candidates are not really thinking of winning. They are just wasting their donors' money. We are going to take a commercial break. Please stay with us.
There needs to be a space involved associated with having the sound waves expand fully.
The difference between traditional headphones and Aircom audio is that the air tube gives you 8 times more space, allowing the sound waves to fully develop before they actually hit your eardrums. And this gives it a much more live, natural sound, just like in a recording studio.
Real nice that someone actually addressed the physics associated with how sound comes out.
The challenge we had was to create an earbud with enough airspace for the sound to fully develop and breathe. Unfortunately, traditional earbuds are about the size of a jelly bean, and there's just not enough airspace. However, that changed when we developed Airflow Audio. Airflow uses an air tube to deliver 6 to 8 times more airspace than traditional earbuds. The end result is a true live listening experience, just like you're at a festival or a concert. We also added magnets to the back of the earpieces so you can wear it around your neck when you're not using it.
Being that the drivers are 8 inches from the earpiece, the magnets do not affect the integrity of the sound at all.
The orange line represents the frequency transmitting through the wire to the speaker, which then converts to the blue sound wave that develops more as it travels up the air tube, producing a balanced, full body and live listening experience.
Another really cool feature is that these earbuds are sweat-proof and water-resistant because they're coated with a super hydrophobic nanotechnology. So now you can be on a skateboard or riding a motorcycle and listen to music as if you were watching a live show or actually in a recording studio.
We're coming to you for help in bringing these unparalleled earbuds to market.
In the Ukraine war, Ukrainian forces are augmenting its forces in their push to oust the Russians from their territory in the southeast of Ukraine, while at the same time appears to be starting efforts to retake Crimea, which the Russians invaded and annexed in 2014. According to a report in the Insider magazine, a Russian vehicle repair base in Crimea, which is still controlled by the Russians and Ukrainian collaborators who has strong ties to Russia, was struck by a Ukrainian Storm Shadow missile on Monday last week. In the same report, the base was hit by one of the 4 cruise missiles fired by Ukrainian Su-24 jets overnight. According to the Russian telegram outlet Rybar, with one missile striking the repair depot near Zankoy, a town to the north of the peninsula, and the other 3 striking an ammunition storage. Although Insider was unable to verify the story independently, but was also reported separately by the think tank, the Institute for the Study of War. Rybar, however, who also reported this as a prominent pro-Russian blogger with more than 1 million followers, is rumored to be connected to the Kremlin, the seat of the Russian government, and the mercenary company, the Wagner Group, which had recently staged a mutiny.
In the Philippines, Typhoon Igay, which is also named internationally as Typhoon Duksuri, classified as a super typhoon, made a landfall in Apare in the Cagayan Valley at 3 a.m. on July 26th, ravaged part of northern Luzon and including Baguio in the mountain province, other parts of the Ilocos region like the province of Abra. It caused damage to homes and highways, landslides, and at least 5 people dead and hundreds injured. According to the National Weather Bureau, the Pag-asa, Typhoon Igay left the Philippine Area of Responsibility, or PAR. It was spotted at the Kalayaan group of islands at 9:30 a.m. China is now bracing for the arrival of Duksuri in the next few days. With Igay or Duksuri exiting the Philippines, a new tropical depression has developed and spotted at an estimated 1,800 kilometers east of northeastern Mindanao in the Pacific, and expected to become a tropical cyclone in the next few days, according to Pag-asa. July to October is a typical typhoon season in the Philippines.
In the Saharan country of Niger in Africa, a coup d'etat has taken place against the democratically elected president of the country, Mohamed Bazoum. In a report from Telesur, a Venezuelan news outlet, and by Associated Press, President Bazoum was held captive by the officers and members of the Presidential Guard at the Presidential Palace in the capital, Niamey. A group of military officers announced on television Wednesday night of the coup d'etat and suspended the constitution and closed the national borders. They read the communique in TV saying, "This day, July 26, 2023, we, the Defense and Security Forces, under the National Committee for the Safeguarding of the People, have decided to put an end to the regime you know. This is a declaration made in view of the security situation and the poor economic and social governance," said Major Colonel Amadou Adramani. Accompanied by 9 other uniformed officers of the military, the Major Colonel reaffirmed and respect the commitment of Niger to the national and international community, that the physical and the moral integrity of the deposed government will be respected, in accordance with the principles of human rights, according to the announcement. The U.S. State Department condemned the coup d'etat and was also echoed by the leaders of the African Union and the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. President Biden appealed that the democratically elected president be restored to his position. We are out of time for today, folks. Join us again next time. I'm Esmeralda Padilla Gold. Thank you for watching.
And I'm Sam Buban. Thank you, and God bless your week.